Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to talk to you how you can spy on your competitors. I'm going to teach you all the different tools that we use to look at our competitors' paid ad strategies, whether that's Meta or Google, look at their top performing landing pages, organic socials, looking at their keyword research, email marketing strategy, and also I'm going to use a real life case study here. I'm going to use a 100 million or plus brand per year, 𝐾𝐿. I'm also going to touch on DuraDry at the end, which is an 8-figure brand leader in their own industry. And we actually purchased the product and we went through a 60-point post-purchase touch points. So a 60-day process of collecting emails and reverse engineering their whole strategy. So by the end of this video today, you're going to understand exactly how to spy on your competitors. The industry is always revolving. You have to go with that, and you always have to be evolving yourself as your business. So at the end of this today, you're going to understand all of the tools and strategies that we use, how you can effectively spy on your competitors, and then have more effective strategies going forward. So here's all the tools that we're going to use. I'm going to talk about each one very briefly, and then we're going to go through them in more detail. So on the left hand side here, you can see we can leverage tools such as Foreplay for competitor research on Meta, which is really, really good. We've been using Foreplay for years now. Brilliant tool for building out swipe files. And as I said, I'm going to go through it more detail in a few minutes. Top landing pages, we can look at the competitors. We can look, in this case, 𝐾𝐿, and then we can also, again, use Foreplay. For Google Ads, we can use the Google Ads Transparency Center. For competitor research, such as keyword research, organic research, looking at where you lie in the industry, we can use the tools such as SEMrush. For email marketing, we can use ∑ brilliant tool for understanding the email cadence, looking at the historical data of an account. You can also add competitors to it too. Review mining, we're going to look at 𝐾𝐿, and then you can also look at tools such as Trustpilot and any other review platforms. And then finally, purchasing your competitors' products. So as I said in this video, we're actually going to go through how we reverse engineered DuraDry's touch points post-purchase over a 60-day period. We've over 50 different touch points. I'm going to go through most of them, not all of them because there's so many, but I will show some examples as well of basically how we reverse engineered this. So look, at the end of this, we are going to understand everything about 𝐾𝐿's strategy. And we're also then going to look at how you would analyze a brand post-purchase. So we're getting everything pre-purchase, from paid ads, email marketing, Meta and Google on the paid ads front. We get the landing pages, we're looking at the pop-ups, we're looking at their traffic, and then we're analyzing a brand post-purchase as well. So we're really understanding the whole journey, the whole funnel, the whole life cycle of the brand. So now I'm just going to go through here in the next section. I'm going to go through the steps in more detail, and then I'm going to move on to a step-by-step process. So as I said, spying on your competitors, the step one here is we're going to look at Foreplay, the app for research and meta ads. We're going to look at how to leverage this tool to look at the top landing pages, the top ad creatives, the longest active ads, the best hooks, and then the videos versus static. I think you're actually going to find this really, really useful. And we also analyze the transcripts of the ads as well to find what types of objections that 𝐾𝐿 are actually tackling for each user. So it's really interesting when we go through this now in a minute. We can also look for Google Ads. We can look at the Google Ads Transparency Center. So looking at the types of offers, the types of copy that the competitors are running in different countries, and then, as I said, the types of ads that they're actually running in that country too. And then another thing that would be important is to just look at type in on Google the main keywords. Look at the ads that the competitors are running there. Even in the shopping ads, look at what types of images that the competitors are using. What are the prices? Have they got all the add-ons at the shopping level? And also, again, back on the pictures, if it's a furniture store, are they using lifestyle imagery, or are they using stock imagery? So how are you really going to stand out in terms of your competitors? What assets are they running for PMAX? And then again, like, what offers are they running? So this is something that you always kind of have to be looking at on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis, especially when you're running products that are like reselling. Like when you're selling products that a lot of other people are selling, it is price sensitive, but then also kind of what other offers are they running on top of that additionally. So that's something that you always kind of have to keep your finger on the pulse and just really understand what your competitors are doing, and just always have like a checklist that you can run over on like a weekly or a bi-weekly basis to keep on top of these things. The next thing is to look at the brand's actual website. So you can use foreplay to look at the top landing pages, but it's always good when around a peak to look at actually what a brand is doing. So like look at, for example, Easter, like what's the Easter landing page that 𝐻𝐶𝐿 are running, what's the Easter pop-up that 𝐻𝐶𝐿 are running, and just what's the offer around that time of the year, and even just save that for next year. And then when you go to mills.com, you can actually look at these offers and reverse engineer it from the previous year. So when you go back to like 2024, 2023, you can pull their creatives and their ads for that previous year, and you can look at like what's the strategy that they've been doing, and even the segments that they've been sending to. And then for the next part is SEMrush. So if you want to look at the keyword research for a brand, you can also look at the traffic per the country, or where even that brand actually sits within the industry. What's their SEO strategy? What's their bidding strategy? What's their ad strategy? And what's the marketing trends? So tools like SEMrush are really, really good for that. And they are third party. They're not 100% accurate, but they'll give you a good educated guess of what's actually going on in that industry. And then I suppose the last couple of things here is mills.com. So something that you should definitely be looking at. You can also add your competitors to it. It's pretty easy to do that. You just fill out form, add the competitor, and then from that date, once they get submitted, their emails will be getting crawled, and you can actually find out exactly what types of emails they're doing. So again, when we are on board a brand that's in a very competitive industry, and we ask them maybe what's 2-3 brands that you absolutely love, well then this is something that we will go straight away. We'll pull their campaign cadence, we'll pull their angles and their offers, their historical campaigns per month, per year, and then their creatives and their copy. So we'll really understand like what the brand is actually doing. And you can see from up here, we're starting to paint a picture. We're starting to understand exactly what they're doing with their ads. What's their top landing pages? What's their their top ad creatives, their longest active ads, their best hooks, their best videos versus static images. We're looking at their Google ads. We're then looking at their landing pages. We're looking at their keyword research and where they are within that industry and their bidding and their SEO and all of their organic traffic and what they're actually doing. And you'll be able to see different trends as you go through this. Now we're looking at their email marketing cadence, their angles, their offers, the historical data on their campaigns, and the creatives and the copy. And now we're going into review mining. So now we're going even deeper. We're going looking at the types of reviews that they're getting on a product level. We're also starting to build empathy maps, what people are saying, thinking, feeling, and doing about their brand. And then from there, you can start really understanding what are the pain points that these products are actually solving. And then the final and most in-depth step is we've actually bought a product. So now we can use this to really understand what's the post-purchase journey. What are they trying to find out of their customers to better understand kind of the objections of maybe what was the consideration phase? How long were they thinking about the brand? Where did they actually hear about the brand? So we can actually help with attribution. And then understanding like what do the customers actually want? Is there anything different that they want? Is there any new products that they like? And just really understanding some of the key questions. That's really going to help move the needle from a product research point of view, because there's no more I suppose better information than really understanding the customer. And then finally, why else would we buy competitors' products? Well, first of all, we know what the benchmarks are within the industry, especially if you purchase from a really, really good one, which we have today is probably one of the best retention companies, I suppose, in the e-commerce space. And then finally, it's just understanding the tech stack. What are they using? And these companies are always staying up to date. So again, from here, we've looked at this whole strategy from start to finish. But now, before I go on too long, I'm going to hop into looking at the top landing pages, and then we're going to go through each board step by step. You can see we're actually in foreplay here. This is the screenshot of foreplay. So when you come into foreplay, you can actually put in a brand that you want to spy on. And then from there, you can actually start looking at the different landing pages. You can look at their hooks, the timelines, the creative tests, and the ads library. You can start building out some really cool swipe files that you can use as reference points going forward. So as you can see here, this 13-piece set is one of 𝐻𝐶𝐿's biggest and most profitable, I suppose, products on our sets on the website. So this here, you can literally just pull the landing page here. You can really analyze the copy that they're using. And you can see here that like 𝐻𝐶𝐿 does what other brands don't or can't. Again, they're leveraging all the social proof and Gordon Ramsay's I suppose, an ambassador for this brand here. So using this as social proof here, having more reviews, you can see here that this is the benchmark for a really, really high-end quality landing page. So all the different landing pages here on the left hand side, you can see these are the most important ones for 𝐘𝐿. So understanding what the most traffic is being pushed towards these types of pages. So the bundles, you can see there's a knives test here, so you can click into any of these and understand which ones and are the most important and why they're the most important, and you'll be able to start seeing some kind of correlation. So you can see here there's like a copy URL, which is where we'll start saving all of the different URLs that are important for that brand into a file that we can then use as a reference point going forward. And look, we're by no means CRO experts, that's for sure, but by looking at these kind of types of pages and data for a long time now, I feel like we actually do have a pretty good handle on it. So again, look into foreplay, look at your competitors' landing pages during peaks, take full page screenshots, save them into a swipe file, and then just have them to add value in the future, and also have them as reference points of what best practices are. Okay, so the next part I'm going to go through here is we're after pulling some main videos from foreplay. So really, really good thing about foreplay is you can actually come in, you can see what's the best hooks and how long have these videos been running for. So you can see this video here has been running for 185 days. And it says here, if you cook as much as I do, they're worth every single penny. Underneath here, you can also see what the ads are actually playing into. So we can see here on esteem, competence, and security. And you can see here on the left-hand side, the different demographics. So the people that they're actually targeting when they're running their ads. On the right-hand side here, you can see the format, you can see the niche, you can also see the product category, and further on, you can see here the transcript as well, and the AI analysis. So again, you can see all of the different hooks, how long they've actually been running for. Then you can click in, you can see the ad details, which is crucial. So the next video here, video 2, why I'll never buy Gordon Ramsay's pans again. So as you can see, here it is here. It's been running for the last 67 days. And here's the copy for the ad. So with 900,000 plus users, thousands of 5-star reviews, 𝐘𝐿 is to go to cookware at home for home cooks and Michelin star chefs across the world. Again, referencing Gordon Ramsay. As you can see here, we've got the engagement of 80, competence 70, belonging, and then security again at 90. So the creative targeting is targeting home cooks, and then the age is unknown, the gender is women. So look, the age, I think it's pretty safe to say that the age is probably about 40 to 60 or even 30 to 60. On the right hand side here, after pulling the transcript and analyzing it, within this video, we can see that they focus on lifetime warranty. So as we said here, why I will never buy Gordon Ramsay's pans again. Well, the reason is because they come with a lifetime warranty, so we won't need to replace them. The durability, 𝐘𝐿 surface is highly praised for being as good as advertised, so the user frequently uses metal utensils without any visible scratches, showcasing the pan's robust build. Also the convenience, the performance, and the overall satisfaction. They're the main points that this video touches. And again, you can save these to swipe files, and then you can have it per industry. What works, what doesn't work, what touch points they focus on, and objections that they really handle. And then the last one here is our pans aren't cheap, and there's a reason for that. So again, we're talking about esteem here. We're talking about belonging, security. And again, we're focusing on women who are home cooks, and their premium pricing. 𝐘𝐿 and acknowledges that their pans are not cheap, attributing to their superior quality. For those that prefer purchasing cheaper products, replacing them manually, 𝐘𝐿 is not the brand for them. So they're basically just taking people out that don't want their brand, which is fine. They've found their niche, they've found the types of people that they want, and that's where they're really nailing it. And you can see here on the left hand side that the thumbnail for the ad, our pans are not cheap, and that's the hook for the ad. That's how it starts. So I think one thing that to really learn here is foreplay is brilliant. You can look at the top hooks per industry. You can spy on your competitors. You can see how long that the ads are actually running, and which top performing hooks they are. You can see what they lean into: security, esteem, engagement, competence, belonging, nurturance. So you can see which is actually what this video is actually going into and digging into. And then finally, the summary. So again, lifetime warranty, durability, convenience, performance, overall satisfaction. Again, really understanding the objections and building out the scripts. So another thing that this software can do is it can actually build out your briefs for you. So you can work alongside this, really understand it, fill it out, and it can help you build your briefs out at scale. So definitely a tool that should be leveraged. But you can see here now we're starting to understand what's the top landing pages, what's the top meta ads, and then from there we'll go on to some of the statics on the right hand side here, which you can see here. We can look at the again top performance statics if you want. You can look at there's many different variations. I love the way 𝐾𝐿 go in and actually put their product in a completely different fashion to what other people would do with the sticky note. I think that really kind of is disruptive and stands out. And you can see here from different seasons, we got Mother's Day here. We've got the offer in many different ways. They're using Gordon Ramsay with a lot of social proof here. Again, he's an ambassador everybody knows. Couldn't be any better of an ambassador for such a premium brand. But you can see that they're just tailoring the creatives in completely different variations, which is very eye-catching. And again, you can go and start building out your swipe file here of different types of creatives. So now we've got the top landing pages, we've got a meta ads, videos, top hooks, the longest running ads, and then also we've got the meta creatives, and we can start building out the swipe file from here. And then again, here's just another example of a Mother's Day landing page. So again, it's always really, really good to do your start due diligence. Now you've got some reference points that you can pass on to designers and really start building out your creatives for an effective peak. Next, I'm just going to touch on really quick Google Ads. So again, look at the competitors' landscape. Look at what their Google Ads Transparency Center is saying. So when you come onto an ad here, okay, and they have Google Ads running, click these three little dots here. Okay, once you click these, this will open, and then you can see more ads. From here, you can run in, you can look at what they're basically advertising for. So aprons, lifetime warranty is what's something that they're pushing a lot. You can see across the meta ads, lifetime warranty, durability, longevity of their product, and really reputable. So you can see here, you can change it to any time, shown in the United States. These are Google search campaigns. You can switch to shopping and so on. And then again, just look at for the main keywords on Google Ads, look at the top SERPs, look at the competition, and just again, build out swipe files. It's all about just taking the time and doing your due diligence and really just understanding the landscape. And then from there, you can just make much better decisions. So I'm not going to get into too much about Google Ads. Again, it's pretty simple to do competitor research. You've already done the hard work on the meta. So now you're starting to look at the Google Ads. You're starting to look at their copy, their offers, where they're positioning themselves, what types of pictures they're using, what types of campaigns that they're using, and then what types of keywords that they're really focusing on. And that's where you will really understand the types of strategies that they're running on Google. Again, look at the Transparency Center and look at it across the whole industry. Again, then look in your Google Ads account and look at the auction insights and look at like where you're lying in your competition, and on a monthly basis what's actually going on. So again, have a little checklist there. We actually have a Google Ads checklist. If that's something that you're interested in, feel free to reach out and I can pass it on to you. Again, it'll definitely help you optimizing your account on a daily, weekly, bi-weekly and a monthly basis. It's a checklist that we run through all of our clients' accounts, and it's something that I think would be very, very useful for you. Great tool that we use. So what we've done is we've actually pulled 𝐾𝐿 profile. So as you can see here, again, this is just third-party tool. It's not 100% correct, but we can see the organic traffic. You can also look at the organic traffic of how it grows over time. What's the main keywords per the country? So you can see the paid ads traffic, what percentage it's up and down, and you can see here, as I said, per country, what's their domain authority, the traffic share, and then the different keywords that they're actually ranking for, their organic keywords. So you've got 𝐾𝐿, 𝐾𝐿 pans, 𝐾𝐿 cookware, 𝐾𝐿 pans, and then also some of the different keywords that they'd go for, maybe like stainless steel pans, luxury pans, and you can actually look at their ads here as well. So again, as I was mentioning, you look at the Google Ads, but you can also use SEMrush to analyze their advertising as well. And then from here, you can also look at the different landscape and the marketing trends of where they lie within their industry. So as I said, now this is just another little step deeper. You can look at their SEO strategy, you can look at their keywords, you can look at how much traffic they're actually paying for. You can look at the organic traffic, the backlinks, the authority of their website, from an SEO standpoint. And then you can also look at their competitive as well and competitors as well, and look at the whole landscape and kind of on a little bar chart of where do you lie and where do they lie within the actual competitive landscape. So next up, we've got 𝐷.com. Really, really good software for looking at your email marketing strategies for competitors. When you go on to 𝐷.com, you can actually add a competitor, as I mentioned before. But let's say we do have the competitor 𝐘𝐿 of many different markets. In this case, we've just went with 𝐘𝐿 US because it's their main one. But when you come in here, you can see all of their recent campaigns: April 5th, March 30th, March 27th, March 25th, March 23rd, March 20th. And you can see their whole campaign cadence. So you can actually go, if they are on this, let's say, since 2023, you can go all the way back to 2023. You can look at all their peaks. You can see the run up to their peaks. If they're sending the kind of like VIPs, you'll see that by the language and the copy and the graphics. You can see here, look, cookbook club. This may be a completely different segment to somebody who's never bought before. So you can start looking at kind of what offers they're running and what categories that they're targeting, what copy they're running. You can see here, spring sale. We've got short on storage. Again, these may be people who bought aprons. Now they're trying to people who have bought pans. You know, they might be buying, like, selling presses. I know this is just an example, but you're going through and you're looking at everything in a fine-tooth comb of kind of Sam Holland. Again, a great ambassador. Meet Cute. We got Well Bun. We got Easter treat starts here. It's still time to hatch a good deal. Again, playing on the Easter. So you're looking at here at the different campaign cadence, the angles and the offers, the historical campaigns per month, all the way down per year. Again, so you're starting to help build out your campaign calendar here. So if you're like 8 weeks back and you're going, what are we going to send here? What's relevant in the industry? What peaks are other people tackling? Well, you can really start building one out here. You can start building out educational content. Here's our promotion. This is how long it's going to run for. And this is the strategy that we're going to use. Again, obviously not copying competitors, but you're just using them for inspiration and finding out what creatives and what copy works and what cadence actually works within that industry. So again, have like 4 or 5 different competitors, different types of campaigns that you like sending on a monthly basis, social proof, educational, promotional, whatever that is, and just start cherry picking them and fill them in. And then after, you'll be able to do your campaign calendar in 10-15 minutes using something like 𝐷. You'll get lots of different inspo. And then also, when you're passing this on to the design team, pass on different examples from other competitors that are really good, just so they don't get any creative block and they can kind of think outside the box and get inspiration. Again, for the copy, you'll get some inspiration from the copy, so you can pass it on to the copywriters and say, look, I think this was actually a really good angle here. I think this is something that we could utilize going forward. So again, 𝐷.com is brilliant. It's a great tool to utilize, and then these will actually also give you ideas to then feed back to the creative team for when you're running the paid social ads too. The next part of this video I'm going to go through is review mining. I feel like this is something that everybody should be doing, especially at the product level. If you've got a product with a lot of different reviews, gathering this feedback is crucial. So understanding what people are saying, thinking, doing, and feel about in your brand is absolutely crucial, especially if you've got a brand, or let's say even at a store level, if you've got a company with not many products. So understanding what people are actually saying about this product will then help you promote your product on paid advertising. You'll be able to understand kind of like what objections people have and what's the pain points that users are actually solving, and then how you're actually going to pitch this going forward when you're reaching out to a cold audience, because there's nothing better than understanding what a customer is after saying, because they're after purchasing your product, they're after adopting your product. So now they're after providing you a lot of feedback that you can use going forward. So as you can see here, what people are saying about these 13-piece, they're actually saying that they're praising them for quality, the ease of cleaning, the cooking performance, the recommendations, and then there's also frustrations and disappointments too. But again, this is all good feedback for the brand and what people are thinking about the brand. We've got value for money, performance and expectations, the durability concerns, comparisons with other brands. So users actually think about how these products stack up against others, possibly cheaper brands and brands that they've actually used in the past. And then purchasing decisions. So the deliberate, whether to purchase additional items or a complete set based on the experiences and needs. Down here, we've got people who have purchased. Many customers go beyond one purchase and consider expanding their collection. So they kind of see these products as collective sets. So if somebody buys one, they might go on and buy a set then, which is great. And again, that's where the kind of the retargeting and the retention program really kicks in here. Gifting, customers frequently actually give cookware as a gift. So again, understanding the gifting side of things here, it's completely different to somebody who's coming on and buying for themselves. And providing feedback, they engage by providing detailed reviews and feedback about their experiences to influence or assist future buyers. They contact support, especially those with negative experiences. Some users reach out to support for assistance and resolution on issues, and then they explore cooking. So inspired by cookware's performance, many explore more diverse or sophisticated cooking experiment with recipes. Again, you can actually see in the email marketing and Milled, they really focus on recipes and understanding their customers. And these could be people who've just bought a first time or bought a second time, like providing them as much value as possible, providing them with a cooking course, understanding that they actually want to. The main thing in e-commerce is if somebody buys a product, we need to ensure that they actually know how to use the product and they're using the product. Because if they're not using the product effectively, they're more than likely not going to buy again because they're not adopting the product the way you want them to be. And you'll actually see in a minute when I go on to Dura here that they make you use the product and adopt it in a brilliant way, and that's why they stand out to everybody else. They're brilliant at doing that. So then finally we've got what people are actually feeling about the brand. So satisfied and happy. Positive reviews clearly show that many customers feel satisfaction, happiness, and a sense of investment well spent. Again, back to that durability, long lasting cookware you only need once. Frustration. So a portion of customers feel annoyed and frustrated when their high expectations are not met, or the product fails. Again, interesting. Post-purchase survey, understand why are they actually saying this and what's going on with, and how can you adopt the product to be better for other customers. And then pride of ownership. Several customers a sense of pride and excitement in owning high quality cookware. Again, when we're looking at the ad strategies, we're looking at the esteem. People feel better. It's just human nature. Once you have that kind of high end quality and luxury product, that just makes you feel better. Just like if somebody buys a Rolex, like they're not just buying the Rolex, they're not just buying it for time, they're buying it for esteem, establishment, and feeling kind of like upper class. So then the next one is disappointment and then relief. So again, there's a notable feeling of relief among customers, happy with the product's ease of use and cleaning, which saves them time and effort. Again, just the quality of that product as well. And again, these are all angles that you can use then in your ads to cold prospects and really create cool and effective angles that then help generate more success on the paid advertising front too. So again, so far we've got every different angle solved. We've got top landing pages, we've looked at the meta, we've looked at Hexclad's highest and performing hooks, longest performing hooks. We've analyzed 3 different videos. We've looked at their meta ads, looking at their most effective creative statics. We've looked at the season of Mother's Day landing page. We've also looked at their Google ads, and you can see here, if you ever want to look at your competitors, just click the 3 buttons, go into see more ads, and then also you can see the Google Ads Transparency Center here, and you can scroll through and see it per country, different type of campaign. And again, you can just look on the Google Ads SERPs. After this, we've looked at the traffic analysis. So you can see here quite a significant amount of organic traffic. They have a massive brand built. And you can see here what their competitive benchmarking is, their content strategy, ad strategy, and marketing trends, and how that changes over time, and how you can see how that most of the traffic is actually coming in the US. So it's their main market by a mile. You can also look at their Google ads in here too. After this, we've looked at milled.com, and you can see here that their campaign cadence is very frequent. Again, this just over one market. So what do the other markets look like? Their angles and offers to historical campaigns per month, per year, creatives, copy, etc. So you can really get an understanding of how they portray their brand from an email marketing standpoint. And then we've just looked at the review mining. So this just on a product level. You could look at this on a basically product by product or category by category level, and just really build it out and build out your empathy maps of what people are saying, thinking, doing, and feeling. And you can just use ChatGPT for this. You can just pull it, as I said, use the data scraping tool. It's a free Chrome extension. Put it onto the reviews, let it scrape the reviews, take the reviews down, download them as a CSV file, upload them to GPT, and then from there, ask them to build an empathy map with 5 of the most important points. From there, you can actually start building out campaign calendars and so on from that. And then finally, what I'm going to touch on now is the post-purchase series for your competitors. Again, this is overkill in a certain way, but it is important. So basically what we're after doing here is we're after going and purchasing 𝐷𝐷ry's product. We're after using a 60-day touch points, a 6-day period with over 50 different touch points of 𝐷𝐷ry. So again, if somebody wants this, feel free to message me. You should probably be paying for this because it's so much, took so much time to create it. But basically what we're after creating here is, you can see every different touch point. So once we receive the product, we get a bundle promotion email. We see the landing page, the checkout page, the 𝐷𝐷ry transactional email, thank you from the founder, review request from the founder, referral from 𝐷𝐷ry. Now we're starting trying to get referrals. We're starting going to testimonials using social buzz and must see 𝐷𝐷ry goodies. So again, resources, our top affiliates. So you're trying to get you to be an affiliate, joining the SMS club, ready to become a 𝐷𝐷ry affiliate. Again, this is all, I even have a map down here that they actually had the name wrong. So then we got taken out of the flow. And once they fulfilled it, we started getting emails again. So they obviously have flows on a fulfilled basis too. So you can see here, these are all the different campaigns, landing pages, all saved. So again, reverse engineering and looking at their whole strategy. So we have over 50 different emails here in a swipe file, all the way down to even delivery notice. But yeah, again, it's all about doing your due diligence and really understanding your competition here. So again, as you can see, we have looked everything from email marketing, paid advertising, Meta and Google. We've looked at their post-purchase flows, over 60 touch points. We've researched over 3,000 reviews and built empathy maps on the back of that. We've looked at their main landing pages, how they attack peaks, what their email marketing cadence is, and all the different tools, even all the way down to their organic traffic. So it's crucial. If you want to be really, really good in the e-commerce industry and have effective strategies, you have to do this research. And from here, you can reverse engineer and understand everything that your competitors are doing. And then from there on, you can build this board out. Bi-weekly checklist. What are they doing? What's changed? Has anything changed? Is there anything that we need to do? Again, just refer back to these tools. You don't need to overcomplicate it. I know this was a little bit overkill and a bit detailed, but it is something that is important, to always kind of keep your finger on the pulse and really understand your competition. If you have any questions in the future, feel free to reach out. Happy to go through any of them. But yeah, just take your time, do your due diligence, understand your competition, and just break it down step by step. Paid ads, email marketing, social media, and just looking through their different tech stacks. So go through the whole journey, all the way even through to even if you want to buy the competitor's product. Again, the two competitors they're not even competitors. The two brands that are in this video are fantastic brands, great brands to look at. They're the best in class in their own accords in the industry. Thank you.